Hello. Making another art video. I have this here, but I wore this and I had to take it off. It is making me sweat too much. But I wanted to bring it into the video because I think it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. This doesn't match. It's not the same yellow. I love this yellow here. Is probably that this is the ultimate yellow. I don't know if it shows. I see the video has kind of like a bluish lens or something. But this yellow is the ultimate. When I was in LA, when I was living in LA before I met Paul, when I first came to LA in 1992, and I was living by myself, I was walking by this Ferrari store, and I envisioned to get a Porsche or a Ferrari in exactly this color, in this real rich, wonderful sunny color. Amazing. So that's this one here has more like a snot type of tone in it. A little greenish, green frog from the throat. Yes, Papa Dog, he's sitting there with me. Yes, he is my everything. He is the absolute total baby. That is what he is. Yes. And if I don't sweat too much, I can continue my painting today on the wall. The sun was shining in over here onto my computer. I saw that was horror. I had to move the computer, and that is my red computer. I don't want that to get destroyed because that's the only way I can upload. I can download my action camera videos. And so last night I pasted some sheets of paper on that window with a sticky thing, sticky stuff. You can take it back off. And it doesn't really work very well. It comes off, but that's better than having the sunshine in. That really buffers the sun away from anything electronic. So I recommend to people to do this. Because I don't want to put the shades down and then make it dark. So when you paste sheets of paper with a sticky material onto the window, wherever you need it, so then it shades, it deflects the sun away from the electronic material, but it lets light in at the same time. So that's important. This is very soft, very nice. Washing machine is shaking out the water, tumbling, the end tumbling causes a little bit of a jittering. I don't know if this tablet picks that up. But I like the way it tumbles and shakes and vibrates the floor of the house. I like it. It's nice. There are so many questions that I have in regards to psychology, like why would someone go back to religion when they had been out of religion, outside of religion for many years? Why would someone go back to religion like fake Sagan? Why would someone do that? Is it because of the AA programs that reel back in the ones that had strayed away with their substances? They used the substances instead of the indoctrination. Then the substances failed them, it caused addiction. Then they go back to these self-help groups, in quotation marks. I cannot say this in a straight way. I have to put it in quotation marks because obviously they don't help. They just shift an addiction from one thing to another. That's all it does. Honesty isn't coming out of it. No. And that's really what the nitty-gritty is. That is why the honesty, the truth underneath is really what the people are running away from when they medicate themselves and when they indoctrinate themselves or let someone else indoctrinate them. They're trying to medicate. They're trying to numb away the truth. Why not stick with the truth? Why is the truth so frightening? That is my question. And I already knew when I was listening to fake Sagan's videos in the past, in 2007 and 2008, he was never an atheist. I already knew this. He used to be a Catholic, and then he just swayed out of it so that he could have the sexual freedom and, you know, all of these, the benefits that come with not sticking to any regimented doctrine or rule that was given by some society. Sexual rules. So he didn't want that, which is understandable. Okay. And then, but what else? So for truth, was he an atheist for truth? Is the question. No. He was an atheist because he wanted certain freedom for certain things, right? Yes, 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 I know you. I followed all of those mental, hot-headed videos. Man, people, you need to laugh more about yourselves. Really. See, religion prevents that. Religion prevents you from laughing about yourselves. And that's not good. That's not freedom. I want the freedom to laugh about myself. I did a lot of crappy things too. We're all human. We're all the human ape. A very lopsided creature. Yeah, but the only path is the path to honesty and truth. And truth does not sit in religion, it doesn't sit in alcoholism, it doesn't sit in, it doesn't even sit in atheism. But you know, the atheism is more honest than religion. That's for sure. So atheism, you know, in that sense of I am an atheist, ha ha ha. You know, that's just another this. That's just another adhering to a group or some kind of thought school. It isn't. It doesn't understand the infinite cosmos. So, but religion certainly doesn't. That's religion adheres to fairy tales and very regimented old school rules that put you into a miserable unfreedom, a miserable prison. But people choose that because freedom and infinity is so frightening to them. Infinity is truth. It's so frightening to them that there's a groundlessness in it that they're terrified of. And so they crawl back into their little prison because they feel safe in it. Yesterday I was watching Fractal videos, and there was one that was particularly amazing. Just I get endorphins watching those mathematical monster videos. Fractal videos that are created in the Minecraft type. So where you go 3D, I don't have 3D goggles, but where you go 3D into, you know, into an architectural structure, and that structure is a fractal structure of 3D, and you see this huge construction like a building, and it zooms in and it keeps on zooming in, and as it zooms in, the little dots and the little crannies that you could see in the beginning, they zoom in and they become again exactly the same shape structure as when you zoomed out. So it just keeps on, you know, in the architectural fractal videos, it is made to look like you just go from one building to the next and to the next and to the next, and they're all interconnected, maybe in a huge 3D triangle, and it just all of it is interconnected like molecular structure, and you dive into it and you see the same shape and the same structure emerging again in the microcosm, but you can see it as microcosm versus macrocosm, but you can also see it as zooming in versus zooming out. You know, in architecture you go into it and and these palaces reveal themselves, and it is so gorgeous. And there was a guy underneath that video who said, oh, this is scary, this is way too big for me, I can't stand it. And then other people, several other people have said, this is horrible, or they said this is scary, or, and some people, they became mean. That's what a lot of people do when they're afraid, they become mean. They said, call it bullshit or what, and this is so totally not bullshit. This is super ingenious. Okay. So the reactions are those of people who are religious, of course, and who have always been in that prison or have gone back into the prison. People who are afraid of infinity. They are afraid of fractal infinity, going, zooming in more and more and more and more, or zooming out, going into space, and it just keeps on going. It's just endless abundance. To me, it's just abundance. It's beauty. It is art. It makes me happy to see this. But I see these other people, they get frightened by it. What is this? What causes these people to get so frightened? Is it because there's truth that comes with infinity? Is it the truth that you are afraid of? What is it? I have asked many Christians in the past on YouTube those kind of questions. They never answer me. Never. I think they don't even know. This is unconscious. And then they don't know what to answer. They wouldn't know the answer. They don't even want to ask that question. That even asking that question is frightening. It's like, yes, this shivering person sitting in a little dungeon doesn't want to come out. And you say there's a blue sky outside of that dungeon. And that blue sky is endlessness. And he goes, oh, scary, no, let me stay in my dungeon. It's miserable here, but it's better than, the bigness of the outside world. I like bigness. I like infinite abundance. That's what art is. That's what the creation process is. I am the creator. You are the creator. You can create yourself a dungeon, or you can create yourself freedom. It doesn't matter how rich or poor you are. It really doesn't have anything to do with that. You could live in a small apartment, in a bachelor apartment, or you can be renting a room, living with some dirty, messy roommates. I've been through all of this. You can still get out of that room, out of that apartment. No one stops you. You can look into the sky and you can praise the large palm trees and the sky above the palm trees. You don't need a penny to do that. You can walk. If you don't even have money or energy to get outside of LA or any big city, you can walk through the big city. Just make sure you walk through the safer neighborhoods. Walk through it, bring a pepper spray with you, whatever is legal, to protect yourself. I've been attacked. I always have been attacked by very coward drive-by gangs. Drive-by that would throw their empty beer cans at me. Those kind of things. I have absolutely no idea why in the world they would do this. Because they can. There's a person walking. Hey, let's throw some beer cans at her. It's like, I mean, how low, I mean, how incredibly, how pathetic such a behavior is. I experienced that a lot. And they do it because they feel, I don't know, they're probably also on drugs and they're drunk, or they want to prove something to some other people. I don't know what it is they're trying to prove. They're proving that they're total low lives, but the other people that are also low lives don't see it that way, so they think that's funny. And they can do it because they think, hey, that person can't defend herself, you know. My husband had also been attacked, even with his dogs. There was a guy trying to run over him once before he met me. Very scary. To me, it's outside of the range of cognitive. I can't follow this cognitively, and I can't understand it. I cannot possibly understand what can lead someone to behave like this in such antisocial behavior, where they're sadistic. I cannot understand it. It is beyond my understanding. It's those mindsets that terrorize the whole planet. It's those people that make nervous wrecks out of sensitive people. And that sadistic behavior shows itself in all kinds of forms, also verbally, and also mental abuse wise. It's that same structure. And those are, what I've learned now is those are people who hate themselves. They have completely given up on themselves. There is not a speck of confidence or hope, or not a speck of self-love. And out of that comes the same loathing and hate towards anyone else around them. They see other people not as individuals who suffer. They only see them as, can I use them or can I abuse them? I don't know how to reach those people. I don't know how to do it. And those are the ones who have they have put their minds only into observing other people and finding their weaknesses. That is what they should get doctorate degrees in that. That's what they put all of their energy into, finding the weaknesses and the flaws in other people. They already know that they are flawed themselves, but they don't even look at that anymore. Their whole purpose is now to find someone else's flaws so that they don't have to look at their own flaws. That's what it's all about. Ha ha, I got you. That's the mindset. Ha ha, I got you. Ah, you are weak. Yes. 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 We all have weaknesses. We're just a human ape. We all are. I don't know how to communicate with those people. I really don't know how to communicate with anyone. I try, I try as good as I can. I communicate with animals because they don't have that. They don't observe your every move, and it's those people that make me agoraphobic. It's those very people it's those troll people that make me agoraphobic. If there's a Buddhist monk standing at the horizon, I would not be afraid about my body movements, or if I'm tripping or falling or looking weird or limping or whatever. It's not the Buddhist monk that makes me afraid. It's the troll. The troll who I can already discern this fractally from very far. I'm very skilled in seeing the troll, in seeing the troll's critical and fractal facial expression already. From that far, I can already see this, the critical. If they would put that energy, the energy of observing someone else's weaknesses and saying, ha ha ha, you are weak. If they would put that energy into observing politics and observing the corporate agenda and observing those people that are really hurting us. I'm not hurting anyone with my awkwardness. I really am not. Or with my insecurities. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm trying to make the world better for all of us. But if you put your energy into detecting the corporate agendas, behavior, and their moves and their tactics, observe those, learn, get skilled in it, observe those. Then you can do some good for the world. I'm not saying bully those. Don't bully anyone, because when someone is bullied, all they do is they crawl more into their crawl spaces. The crawl spaces that don't do the world any good. So they crawl more into that. And I guess for the bullies, it is their crawl space is to bully. So if I bully a bully, then the bully will become more of a bully. That's all that will come out of it, because that's the only thing he thinks is saving him, but it's not saving you at all. It just makes you even more lonely, more isolated. Then you will blame your looks on it. Must be my looks, because that's what you've been drilled with your whole life, that everything's just vanity and looks. Now you have chased people away by bullying them, not your looks. Okay. So become aware about all of these things. We all want closeness. We all want to have a trusting relationship to another living being. A dog, a cat, a human, a horse, or pig, or rabbit, or guinea pig. So any living being, we want a close relationship to another. Every one of us needs it. Our bodies need it. Our brains need it. And the troll sabotages himself by hurting another living being. That's incredibly sad. It's those people that set fires. People who hate themselves. And they make thousands of other living beings suffer. Because they have not dug into their own issues. Do it now. Dig into your own issues. Dive into it. There's nothing scary about the truth. It feels very refreshing and liberating to admit something to yourselves, about yourselves, and to allow yourselves to cry. That is, a friend of mine in LA said, that's the ultimate luxury for her, when she cries it all out in primal therapy. And it is so true. You don't need a therapist for that. You can do this by yourself. It often helps to have someone to connect with, even if it's just a video you watch. Helps to have someone who you know is not going to hurt you when you make yourself vulnerable. So that helps. Because the haters are the ones who are the most afraid of being hurt. See that a lot. It's a very quick knee-jerk reaction in a lot of people. They feel hurt and they instantly lash out. That there's not even a thought process behind it. It's an instant automatic reaction. Those are also the people who end up in prison, sometimes for a long time. It's so tragic. And all you needed to do is to introspect. Then you don't have to go to prison. You don't have to hurt someone else. All you need to do is introspect and become aware of your own behavior and mechanism and thought processes, and see what you're doing and stop doing it. Not in a forceful way, but in a way of understanding. You understand what it does, what it leads to, the kind of self-sabotage that it leads to. Understand the danger of the reacting, of the act-outs, of the self-sabotage. What it does, how it hurts others, how it puts you into prison for 20 or 30 years. And it could have been prevented by going into yourselves, because that is the only path we have. We have no other path. The other people that made you hurt, they didn't make you hurt deliberately. You know, someone who makes you feel jealous didn't intend to make you feel jealous. Or someone whom you interpret things into because of the way they look. You interpret things into that person with a certain prejudice or something. That person didn't intend any of that, didn't make you want to feel like that. So the outside is not to be blamed. There's only one path, and that is the path within yourselves. The only path there is. Been through this myself. I've been through jealousy, tremendous pain. Jealousy can put someone into a mental institution. That's how bad it can get. And struggling with someone for love can also throw you over the edge. So stop struggling. You don't need that person. You do not. You need the person who understands you, who makes love simple and easy, but the ego doesn't want that. The ego wants to continue the struggle with the cold mother. Because once you can, like I said before, once you can get the cold mother, or motherfucker, then you get sort of like ego credits. You know, you get a couple of $10 wins from the slot machine. You know, it's the same as that. You get a quick endorphin release and a dopamine release and addiction cycle. If I can just get my cold mother to love me, then I am validated. No, but that's how the ego works. Boy, I've done that for so many years. You can spare yourself that trouble. You can really spare yourself that. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to go through what I've gone through in my life. I will never get my mother's validation. Never. Never, ever, ever, ever. Okay. The more I struggled with her, the more she withdrew into her trollish behavior. My mother is one of the trolls. Yeah. So I lived with a troll. I grew up with a troll. A troll gave birth to me. Yes. That's how it is. It's not fun, believe me, trust me. And it was my mother why I decided to become an antinatalist. It was my mother that made me doubt my own mothering skills, although I'm sure now that I would have been a good mother, but it would have been probably overwhelming stress-wise, but I still would have been a good mother, but you know, all the circumstances around it, you know, I was on medication and all of this, not good. It's also not good intrauterine for anyone who gets pregnant. What's the point in this? You know, I've never seen the point of this. What's that ordeal? So that's just another. It's a biological urge, and it is an ego urge. Ego, proliferate yourself. You know, your important genes or whatever. It's bullshit. No. These things, they should happen under ideal circumstances only, if at all. And that is almost never the case with any human. It's only a handful of people who have this ideal circumstance to offer to their offspring. But I don't see the point in making more humans. I really don't see it. But it was my mother who really got me to doubt all of this. What if went through my head. I had a boyfriend when I was 24 and he was 25, and he wanted 4 kids with me. And I first thought, yeah, that would just out of craziness. Yeah. I told my mother about it, and she was like, what a nightmare. And she told me, I can't deal with this, she said. And I was also glad that she said that. So, and I already knew that she couldn't deal with it. There was one honest statement. So, but it was mainly this: what if I get jealous like my mother did, and what if I have a girl, and what if I get jealous of that girl? I will make that girl's life miserable. I don't want that to happen. No way, ever. I don't want another girl, another Nicola in the world who will suffer because I have perpetuated that self-sabotage neurosis cycle. No, I'm not going to. And many other things that went through my mind. What if Norbert would molest her? All kinds of things, all kinds of extrapolations. No, I don't see the point in it. Why continue a suffer cycle? It doesn't make any sense. Rescue those that are already born. rescue an animal who is already there in an animal shelter. And be aware of something here. Be very aware that rescuing a human baby is not rescuing a living being. And I tell you why that is. Because there are human baby factories. You probably will not agree, but this shit is happening. Okay? Because people don't shy away from, they get a lot of money for a human baby from a couple who decided to adopt. They get a lot of money. I don't know, thousands of dollars. I don't know, $10,000. I don't know how much. Around the whole globe. I think the Asian babies are also, they're very popular because they're bright, they're intelligent. They might even provide for the elderly adoptive parents later on. So that's a business. Don't support it. Don't support the horror cycle with your money. Rescuing a living being is going into an animal shelter. That's really rescuing a living being. Okay. That is really rescuing. Okay, and that's what I recommend. They are equally precious. Okay. No, they can't provide for you when you get older. But that's not what love is about. If you want to give love to an innocent living being, okay, then you give love to an innocent living being without expecting that innocent living being to provide for you or to make you proud or whatever the neurotic things are that people put into their kids or into their adopted kids. Don't go that direction. End the horror cycle. You know, there may be a situation where, I don't know, where your sister had a child and she can't deal with the situation and you wanted a child and you decided, oh, instead of giving birth, I'm going to take my sister's child instead. That child is already there and that child needs to be rescued right now in this moment. Okay, that's a rescue situation without money involved. Okay. The moment there's money involved in this, it becomes a human trafficking situation. Okay. It becomes a human market. And people don't shy away from anything, trust me. I've seen it all. As an activist, I've seen all the atrocities that people will do just for money. Even for very little money, they'll do an atrocity. They'll cause someone to suffer really badly for just a little bit of money. That's a reality. So that's why I say, don't adopt a child. Don't adopt a human child. Okay. You can adopt a monkey child if you want to dress that being up in clothes. That's what you wanted. Get a monkey. You know, there are wild animals that are very dangerous. Large monkeys, like chimpanzees, are very dangerous. They are very, very dangerous animals, like a werewolf. I don't recommend that. I've heard horrible stories, bad endings for the chimpanzee and the humans. Not good. And Michael Jackson's monkey, Bubbles, his chimpanzee. The chimpanzee grew up happy with him, and oh yeah, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. That's what I wanted to talk about. Yesterday I've been thinking about Michael Jackson. Very important person to talk about. There are so many things that went through my mind about him. So, Michael Jackson was a highly sensitive person. Highly sensitive. He broke down through the pressure of his horribly violent dad and society and show business. Broke him down. Making a video, making a video. Can you walk by without your face showing? Then you can do it. Walk by without the
waiting.
Waiting? Well, you're gonna have to wait for another 20 minutes then, because that's how long I was just getting into something very important that I wanted to talk about. So, the chimpanzee Bubbles, at some point, I don't know, when Bubbles was like 10 or something, when all of this happened, where Michael Jackson had the breakdowns and had to go into a treatment, and Bubbles got seized, I don't know, maybe by some zoo or something, and they put him into a cage. I cried so hard over this because Michael Jackson's sister, I think, what's her name?